A presentation on Lost Spring by Anish Jung. Story 2, Part 2, prepared by Enram. Hello students, today I will tell you the explanation of the lesson Lost Spring Class 12th written by Anish Jung. Savita, a young girl in a drab pink dress, sits alongside an elderly woman soldering pieces of glass as her hands move mechanically like the tongue of a machine. There is a young girl named Savita. She wears a faded pink colored dress. She is sitting with an elderly woman and they are joining pieces of glass to make bangles. Her hands move like a machine, just like the tongue of a machine. I wonder if she knows the sanctity of the bangles she helps make. It symbolizes an Indian woman's suhag, auspiciousness in marriage. The writer wonders if Savita knows the holiness of bangles. They are symbol of auspiciousness in a woman's wifehood. It will dawn on her suddenly one day when her head is draped with a red veil, her hands dyed with red henna, and red bangles rolled onto her wrist. She will then become a bride. The writer thinks that Savita will realize this when she will become a bride. That day, she will cover her head with a red colored veil, color her hand with henna, and wear red colored bangles on her wrist. Like the old woman beside her who became one many years ago, she still has bangles on her wrist but no light in her eyes. The elderly woman sitting next to Savita also became a bride many years ago. She is still wearing the glass bangles, but there is no pleasure on her face. एक वक्त शेर भर खाना भी नहीं खाया. She says in a voice drained of joy. She has not enjoyed even a full meal in her entire life. That's what she has reaped. The elderly woman complains that she has not eaten sher bhar, that is sufficient food, even a single meeting. The woman wants to say that they are so poor that they cannot eat food up to satisfaction. That is the benefit that she has received by adopting the profession of bangle making. Her husband, an old man with a flowing beard, says, I know nothing except bangles. All I have done is make a house for the family to live in. Her husband, with a flowing beard, says that he does not know anything other than bangle making. All that he has been able to accomplish is to make a house for his family to live in. Hearing him, one wonders if he has achieved what many have failed in their lifetime. He has a roof over his head. The writer wonders that probably the old man has achieved something which many other people have not been able to achieve. At least he has been able to secure a shelter for his family. The cry of not having money to do anything except carry on the business of making bangles, not even enough to eat, rings in every home. The young men echo the lament of their elders. Little has moved with time, it seems, in Firozabad. Years of mind-numbing toil have killed all initiative and the ability to dream. This problem is prevalent in all the homes which carry on the profession. They do not know anything else other than bangle making, and it does not even provide them enough to eat. The young men who entered the traditional profession also have the same complaint. With the passing time, there is no improvement in their condition, as they have been doing hard work for countless number of years, they do not have any ability to do something else or to dream of it. Why not organize yourselves in a cooperative? I ask a group of young men who have fallen into the vicious circle of middlemen who trapped their fathers and forefathers. Even if we get organized, we are the ones who will be hauled up by the police, beaten and dragged to jail for doing something illegal, they say. The writer suggests them to form a cooperative. She talks to a group of young men to get out of the circle of the cruel middlemen who have trapped their elders. The man says that if they dare to do something like that, they will be dragged and beaten up by the police and sent to jail. Their acts will be termed to be unlawful. There is no leader among them, no one who could help them see things differently. Their fathers are as tired as they are. They talk endlessly in a spiral that moves poverty to apathy, to greed, and to injustice. The writer feels that as they have no leader, they cannot think of doing things differently. They all are so tired, the men like their fathers. The men complain that it is a continuous process. Their poor condition leads to lack of concern for their problems. This makes them greedy and leads to injustice. Listening to them, I see two distinct worlds. One of the family caught in a web of poverty, burdened by the stigma of caste in which they are born. The other, a vicious circle of the sahukars, the middlemen, the policemen, the keepers of law, the bureaucrats, and the politicians. The writer finds that there are two separate worlds. One is of such families who are stuck in poverty and the pressure of doing the traditional profession according to the caste in which they are born. The other world is a never ending cycle of moneylender, middlemen, policemen, law keepers, government officials, and politicians. Together, they have imposed the baggage on the child that he cannot put down. Before he is aware, he accepts it as naturally as his father. To do anything else would mean to dare, and daring is not part of his growing up. Both of these words have forced the young boys to follow the family traditions. The young boys get into the profession and become a part of this vicious circle even before they realize it. If they do anything else, it means that they are challenging these two worlds, and the boys have not been reared up to be bold enough so that they could dare to go against the system. When I sense a flash of it in Mukesh, I am cheered. I want to be a motor mechanic. He repeats, he will go to a garage and learn. But the garage is a long way from his home. I will walk, he insists. The writer is happy to sense that Mukesh has the dream. He says that he will be a motor mechanic. He wants to go to a garage and learn the job. The writer asks that as the garage is at a distance from his home, Mukesh insists that he will walk up to it. Do you also dream of flying a plane? He is suddenly silent. No, he says, staring at the ground. In his small murmur, there is an embarrassment that has not yet turned into regret. He is content to dream of cars that he sees hurtling down the streets of his town. few aeroplanes fly over Firozabad. The writer asks him if he dreams of flying planes. The boy becomes silent and refuses. He does not know about them as not many planes fly over Firozabad, as he had only seen cars moving around in Firozabad. His dreams were restricted up to them. Thank you for watching the video and please do subscribe to my channel.